The moment my brother Gabriel dumped an entire cooler of ice water over my head during our father-daughter dance, I knew my wedding day was ruined. My name is Emery, and this is the story of how my little brother's harmless prank changed both our lives forever. It's just a joke, sis. Lighten up. Gabriel's words rang through the reception hall as mascara streamed down my face, my perfectly styled hair now a dripping mess. My white dress clung to my body, transparent in places it shouldn't be, while my father stood there shocked, his rented tux soaked through. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Marcus, my new husband, rushed to my side with napkins, his face red with anger. "Have you completely lost your mind?" Gabriel just laughed, high-fiving his equally immature friends. "Come on, it's a wedding tradition. The bride needs something cold, right?" My mother Esther hurried over, absolutely mortified. "Gabriel Ryan, what have you done? This is your sister's wedding." I stood there shivering, watching my carefully planned reception dissolve into chaos. The string quartet stopped playing. Guests whispered and pointed. My photographer kept snapping photos, probably thinking she'd struck disaster documentary gold. "I need to change," I managed to say through chattering teeth. My maid of honor rushed me to the bridal suite, but I knew the damage was done. The moment was gone. The father-daughter dance I'd dreamed of since I was little, the one Dad had been practicing for weeks despite his bad knee, was ruined. When I emerged in my backup dress, thank God I'd listened to my wedding planner about having one, Gabriel was still there, now working on his fourth beer. "Hey, you look great," he called out, raising his glass. "See? No harm done." I walked straight up to him, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. "You've pulled a lot of stunts over the years, Gabriel, but this is different." He rolled his eyes. "Oh, please, you're being dramatic. It was funny. Even Dad laughed." Dad didn't laugh. He was embarrassed. Everyone was embarrassed. But you wouldn't notice because you never notice how your actions affect others. "Whatever," he scoffed, turning back to the bar. "You've always been too serious. Life's a joke, sis. Learn to laugh." I grabbed his arm, forcing him to look at me. "You think this is funny? You think ruining one of the most important moments of my life is a joke?" "Let go." He yanked his arm away, spilling his beer. "Jesus, when did you become such a buzzkill?" Marley, his girlfriend, approached cautiously. "Gabe, maybe we should go. I think you've had enough." "I'm fine," he snapped at her. "Stop mothering me. You're as bad as Emery." I watched Marley's face fall, saw the familiar pain in her eyes. How many times had she tried to rein in his destructive behavior? How many times had we all tried? Marcus appeared beside me, his hand steady on my lower back. "I think it's time for you to leave, Gabriel. You've done enough damage for one day." "Fine." Gabriel stumbled slightly as he stood. "I don't need this shit." "Come on, Marley." As they left, I heard them arguing in the parking lot, their voices carrying through the open doors. Another relationship Gabriel seemed determined to destroy. "I'm so sorry, honey." My mother hugged me, her voice breaking. "I don't know what's gotten into him lately." But I knew. This wasn't new. This was Gabriel, doing what he'd always done, making everything about him. Consequences be damned. Only this time he'd gone too far. Later that night, as Marcus and I slow danced to make up for the ruined father-daughter dance, I made a decision. Gabriel needed to learn that actions have consequences. Real ones. Not the kind that could be laughed off or dismissed with a wave of his hand. "You're thinking about Gabriel," Marcus said softly, reading my expression. "He needs to understand what he did today. Really understand." Marcus pulled back slightly, studying my face. "What are you planning?" "Nothing yet," I replied, but my mind was already working. "But when the opportunity comes, I'll be ready." Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about making someone face themselves in the mirror. "Just don't let it consume you," Marcus warned, pulling me close again. "He's still your brother." "Yes," I whispered, watching the remaining guests enjoy themselves, trying to salvage what was left of our reception. "He is my brother, and that's exactly why this matters so much." Little did I know then that my chance for revenge would come sooner than expected, and it would change everything, not just for Gabriel, but for all of us. 3 weeks after the wedding disaster, at exactly 2:17 a.m., our doorbell started ringing non-stop. Marcus and I were just settling into our new home, still surrounded by unpacked boxes and wedding gifts. "Who the hell?" Marcus mumbled, reaching for his phone. The doorbell kept buzzing, now accompanied by heavy pounding. I checked our security camera feed and felt my stomach drop. It's Gabriel, and oh God, he's drunk. Through the camera, I watched my brother sway on our front porch, repeatedly hitting the doorbell with one hand while clutching a half-empty bottle in the other. "Don't answer it," Marcus said, but I was already heading downstairs. When I opened the door, Gabriel practically fell inside. "Hey, sis," he slurred, stumbling past me. "Nice house. Wedding present from Mum and Dad, right? Must be nice being the favourite." "Gabriel, it's the middle of the night. What are you doing here?" He wandered into our living room, leaving muddy footprints on our new carpet. "Marley kicked me out. Can you believe that? Said I'm destructive and need help. Whatever that means." "You drove here drunk." I noticed his keys dangling from his finger. "Nah, took a cab." "Man, not stupid." He collapsed onto our couch, spilling some of his drink. "Just grab my car from the bar first, it's out front." Marcus appeared, now fully dressed. "I'll move his car into the driveway before it gets towed." Gabriel tossed the keys, missing Marcus completely. They clattered against a wedding photo on the wall, the one salvageable picture from after his prank. "Sorry about your fancy party, by the way," Gabriel mumbled, noticing the photo. "But hey, at least people will remember it, right?" I stood there, watching my brother's glazed eyes struggle to focus, and suddenly saw my opportunity. "You can stay tonight," I said, ignoring Marcus's surprised look. "Really?" Gabriel perked up. "Thought you were mad at me." "Oh, I am. But you're still my brother, and you're clearly in no state to go anywhere." Marcus pulled me aside. "Are you sure about this? He's not exactly stable right now." I squeezed his hand. "Trust me. He needs to see some things clearly, and maybe this is the perfect chance." When we returned to the living room, Gabriel was trying to drink from his now empty bottle. "Where's Marley?" he asked, nobody in particular. "She usually takes care of me when I'm like this." "Maybe that's the problem," I said, taking the bottle away. "Maybe it's time you took care of yourself." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you're sleeping on the couch tonight. And tomorrow we're going to have a real conversation about everything, including the wedding." Gabriel groaned. "Not this again. It was weeks ago. Let it go." "Oh, I'll let it go," I said, tossing him a blanket, "right after you understand exactly what you did. Sleep well, brother dear." As I turned to leave, he called out, "You know what your problem is, Emery. You think everything has to be perfect. Life isn't perfect. It's all one big joke." I paused at the stairs. "No, Gabriel. Life isn't a joke. But tomorrow I'm going to show you what one really looks like." Marcus followed me upstairs. "What are you planning?" "Remember how Gabriel always said I was too serious? How I needed to learn to take a joke?" I started gathering supplies from our bathroom. "Well, I'm going to give him exactly what he wants. Starting tomorrow, everything's going to be one big joke." "Emery, don't worry," I said, filling a bucket with ice water. "I'm not going to hurt him. I'm just going to help him see himself clearly. Very, very clearly." From downstairs came the sound of Gabriel's loud snoring, punctuated by occasional mumbles about Marley. "He's hit rock bottom," Marcus observed. "Maybe this isn't the best time to—" "It's exactly the right time," I interrupted. "Rock bottom means he has nowhere else to go but up. And I'm going to make sure he does exactly that, whether he wants to or not." I set the bucket by our bed ready for tomorrow's wake-up call. He wants jokes? Fine. But this time, I'm going to make sure he understands the punchline. As I lay in bed listening to my brother's drunken snores echo through our new home, I felt a strange mix of anger and hope. Gabriel had always been the family's chaos factor, the one who turned everything into a game. Now it was my turn to play, and I intended to win. "Just promise me one thing," Marcus said as he turned out the light. "Promise this won't turn into something you'll regret." "I promise." I whispered, already planning tomorrow's lessons in karma. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about finally making my little brother grow up. At exactly 6 a.m., I dumped the bucket of ice water over Gabriel's head. His screams probably woke the entire neighborhood. What the hell? He shot up from the couch, dripping and shivering. Are you insane? Oh, come on, I said, mimicking his wedding day tone perfectly. It's just a joke. Learn to laugh, brother. Gabriel wiped his face, hungover and miserable. Very funny. Where's the bathroom? I think I'm going to be sick. Down the hall. But hurry up. We're having breakfast in 15 minutes. We're what? No, I need to go home and... And what? Face Marley? Sleep it off? Run away from another mess you've made? I started pulling open curtains, letting in the harsh morning light. Not this time. You wanted to crash here, so now you're going to experience the full hospitality of Casa Emery. Marcus came downstairs, already dressed for work. Morning, sunshine, he called to Gabriel, who was stumbling toward the bathroom. Sleep well? The sounds of retching answered his question. You don't have to go to work today, I told Marcus quietly. I can handle this. Are you kidding? And miss the show? He kissed my cheek. Just go easy on him, okay? He looks rough. 20 minutes later, Gabriel sat at our kitchen table, still damp, nursing a cup of black coffee while I deliberately made the loudest breakfast possible. Who wants eggs? I practically shouted, banging pots and pans. I'm thinking scrambled, with extra onions and garlic. Gabriel groaned, holding his head. Please stop. Stop? But I'm just getting started. Hey, remember that time you played your drum set at 3 a.m. because you thought Mum and Dad needed more music in their lives? His phone buzzed, Marley's face appearing on the screen. Gabriel reached for it, but I was faster. Hello, Marley, you're on speaker, I announced cheerfully. Gabe? Marley's voice was tired, worried. Where are you? I've been calling all night. He's safe, I answered. Having breakfast at my place, want to join us? Don't, Gabriel warned, but Marley was already responding. Actually, yes. I think we all need to talk. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Gabriel slumped in his chair. Why are you doing this to me? Doing what? Being helpful? Involving myself in your personal life? Making everything into one big joke? I set a plate of eggs in front of him, the smell making him pale. Isn't that what family does? This is about the wedding, isn't it? Oh, now he gets it. Give the man a prize. I clapped loudly, making him wince. But no, Gabriel, this isn't just about the wedding. This is about every time you've turned someone else's moment into your comedy show. Every time you've hurt people and laughed it off. The doorbell rang, Marley early and determined. She looked like she hadn't slept either. Perfect timing, I ushered her in. We were just discussing Gabriel's greatest hits. Want to add any to the list? Emery, please, Gabriel started, but Marley cut him off. How about last month's dinner with my parents? She said, sitting down, when you thought it would be hilarious to tell them about our sex life. Or my graduation, I added, when you set off the fire alarm because the ceremony was too boring. The Christmas you sold Dad's vintage watch for concert tickets? Mom's 50th birthday party? Gabriel stood up suddenly, swaying slightly. I get it, okay? I'm a screw-up. Is that what you want to hear? No, I said firmly. What I want is for you to actually get it. To understand that your actions hurt people. Real people. People who love you. Love me? He laughed bitterly. Right. That's why you're torturing me with this intervention. Gabe, Marley's voice softened. We're here because we care. Because we can't keep watching you destroy yourself and everyone around you. I don't need this. He grabbed his keys from the counter. I'm out. I blocked his path. Your car's staying here. You're still drunk from last night. Fine, I'll walk. To where, Gabriel? Your apartment that you got kicked out of. Your job that you're probably losing. Your girlfriend who's at her breaking point. He stopped, his back to us, shoulders tense. For a moment I thought he might cry. Instead he turned around with that familiar, mocking smile. At least I know how to have fun. When's the last time either of you just let loose? Stopped being so damn perfect all the time? This morning, I replied calmly. With the ice water. Pretty fun, right? His smile faltered. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed again, this time with a call from his boss. "Want to put that on speaker too?" I asked. "Or are you ready to have a real conversation about where your life is heading?" Gabriel stared at his ringing phone, the weight of his choices finally seeming to sink in. And for the first time since I could remember, he didn't have a joke to hide behind. Gabriel let his phone ring out, then slumped back into his chair. "I got fired, didn't I?" "Probably," I said, sitting across from him. "Just like you probably lost your apartment, and you're probably about to lose Marley too." "I'm still here," Marley said quietly. "For now." The morning light streamed through our kitchen windows, highlighting the dark circles under Gabriel's eyes, the stubble on his chin, the stains on his rumpled shirt. He looked older suddenly, worn down. "Remember Dad's funeral?" he asked unexpectedly. "Gabriel, don't," I warned, but he continued. "Remember what Mom said to me, right after the service?" I did remember. It was 5 years ago, but the memory was crystal clear. She was grieving. We all were. She said I was just like him, that I'd end up just like him. Gabriel's laugh was hollow. "Guess she was right." Marley looked confused. "Like your father. I thought he was a successful businessman." "On paper, sure." Gabriel's voice was bitter. "Great provider, perfect family man. Except for his little secret. Want to tell her, Emery? Or should I?" I closed my eyes, feeling the old pain resurface. Dad had a gambling problem. He hid it well, but it nearly bankrupted us several times. Mum spent years covering for him, paying off debts. And he turned everything into a joke, Gabriel added. Sound familiar? Every crisis, every close call, it was all just one big game to him. Until it wasn't. "The heart attack," I said softly. "The heart attack," Gabriel echoed. "Right after Mom found out about the second mortgage he'd taken out without telling her. But hey, at least he died laughing, right?" Marley reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" "Because it's easier to be the family clown than the family failure," I answered for him. "Isn't that right, Gabriel?" He stood up abruptly, pacing our kitchen. "You don't get it. You were always the strong one, the responsible one. I was just... there. Making people laugh because at least then they weren't disappointed in me." "And the wedding?" I pressed. "What was that about?" "I don't know," he exploded. "Maybe because everyone was talking about how perfect you are, how amazing your life is. Maybe because Dad would have loved it. One last big joke to lighten the mood." "Or maybe," I said, standing to face him, "you were scared. Scared that people might actually expect something real from you. Something meaningful." "Like what?" "Like a genuine relationship," Marley interjected. "Like a real career instead of jumping from job to job. Like being the person I know you can be when you're not hiding behind your pranks." Gabriel stopped pacing, staring out our kitchen window at the morning traffic. "What if I don't know how to be that person?" "Then you learn," I said firmly, "starting now." "How?" "By having you dump ice water on me and force me to face my demons over breakfast." "No. By staying here for a while." Both Gabriel and Marley turned to stare at me. "What?" Gabriel asked. "You need a place to stay. We have a spare room, but there are conditions." "Of course there are," he muttered. "You get a job, a real one. You start therapy, and you face everything you've been running from." "And if I don't?" "Then you're on your own. Completely. No more family bailouts. No more second chances. No more Marley waiting in the wings hoping you'll change." The silence that followed was heavy with possibility. Outside, a neighbour's kid rode past on his bike, laughing. Gabriel watched him, his expression unreadable. "The spare room still has boxes in it," he said finally. "We can move them." "And Marcus is okay with this?" "He will be." Gabriel turned to Marley. "What about us?" She stood up, gathering her purse. "That depends on you." "I love you, Gabe, but I can't keep loving someone who doesn't love himself enough to change." As she headed for the door, she paused. "Call me when you're ready. Really ready." After she left, Gabriel and I stood in silence, the weight of the morning's revelations hanging between us. "I'm not him," Gabriel said suddenly. "Dad, I don't want to be him." "Then don't be," I replied. Be better. He picked up his coffee cup, now cold, and stared into it like it held answers. The spare room, does it at least have a bed? It will by tonight. And the ice water wake-up calls? Only when you deserve them. For the first time that morning, his smile was genuine, small but real. I really messed up your wedding, didn't I? Yes, you did, but maybe we can both get something better out of this mess. Like what? Like my brother back, the real one, not the joke version. 2 weeks into Gabriel's stay, I found him sitting on our front porch at dawn, talking to our neighbour Joseph. I paused at the door, coffee in hand, listening. So, you just gave it all up? Gabriel asked. The drinking, the parties? Joseph nodded, his weathered face serious. Had to. Lost my family, my career as a counsellor. Hit rock bottom hard. But sometimes that's what it takes to realise you're digging your own grave. How'd you climb out? One day at a time. Started counselling troubled kids again, but this time with real understanding. Nothing teaches empathy like falling apart yourself. I stepped outside, making my presence known. Morning, Joseph. Coffee? No thanks, heading to the centre soon. Got a full day of sessions. He stood, patting Gabriel's shoulder. Think about what I said about the meetings. They help. After Joseph left, Gabriel turned to me. Did you plan this? Plan what? Having an inspirational recovering alcoholic next door? Someone who just happens to be a counsellor? I sat beside him smiling. Contrary to what you might think, I don't actually control the universe. Joseph moved in last year, but he's right about the meetings. I'm not an alcoholic, Gabriel protested. No, you're just someone who ruins important events while drunk, loses jobs because of hangovers, and got kicked out of his apartment for throwing beer-soaked parties. Point taken, he sighed, watching the sunrise. I had that job interview yesterday. And I got it. Assistant manager at the sports store. Not exactly a career, but it's a start, I finished. Did you tell Marley? Left her a voicemail, she hasn't called back. Give her time. She's seen a lot of false starts. Gabriel pulled out his phone, showing me a text. Mum wants to visit. My stomach tightened. Are you ready for that? No. But Joseph said something interesting. He said, avoiding hard conversations is like leaving an infected wound untreated. It only gets worse. Smart man. Yeah. Gabriel stood up, stretching. I'm going to one of those meetings today, the ones Joseph mentioned. Want to come with me? I nearly dropped my coffee. You're serious? Don't make a big deal out of it. I need to try something different. Being the family clown isn't working anymore. Later that evening, after the meeting, we sat in my kitchen. Gabriel was unusually quiet, pushing his food around his plate. You okay? I asked. They all had stories. The people at the meeting, about hitting bottom, losing everything. And the whole time I kept thinking, what? That could have been Dad, if he'd gotten help, faced his demons instead of joking them away. Maybe he'd still be here. Marcus, who'd been silently supportive through all of this, spoke up. You can't change the past, Gabriel, but you're changing your future. That matters. I saw Marley today, Gabriel said suddenly. After the meeting, she was at the coffee shop across the street. And she said she's proud of me for trying, but she needs to see real change before... He trailed off, then laughed softly. You know what's funny? For once, I don't feel like making a joke about it. That's progress, I said. Is it? Because it hurts more this way. Everything hurts more when you're not laughing it off. That's how you know it's real, Marcus added. Real change isn't comfortable. Gabriel's phone buzzed, a text from Mom confirming her visit for the weekend. His hand shook slightly as he read it. She doesn't know I'm staying here, he realised, or about the meetings, or Marley. Maybe it's time she did, I suggested. Maybe it's time we all stopped pretending. Like how we pretended with Dad. Exactly like that. Gabriel stood up, walking to our family photo wall. He stopped at the wedding picture, the one showing the aftermath of his prank. I really thought I was being funny, he said quietly. I actually believed I was adding something positive to your day. How messed up is that? Pretty messed up, I agreed, joining him. But you know what's interesting? If you hadn't done that, hadn't pushed me so far, we might not be here now. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best changes. Is that your way of saying I should thank you for the ice water wake-up call? No, that was just fun. For the first time in weeks, we both laughed. Not the forced laughter of deflection or the bitter laughter of pain, but genuine, healing laughter. I'm scared about Mum's visit, Gabriel admitted. I know, but this time, you're not facing it alone. He nodded, then straightened his shoulders. I should call Marley. Tell her about the meeting. No jokes, no excuses. Just truth. Good idea. As he headed upstairs to make the call, I realized my plan for revenge had transformed into something else entirely. Something more like redemption. Mom arrived on Saturday morning with her signature apple pie and an armful of tension. The moment she saw Gabriel opening our front door, she froze. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice tight. I live here for now? Gabriel took the pie from her. Need help with your bags? She stepped inside, looking around as if searching for damage. Emery didn't tell me you were staying here. That's because I asked her not to, he said. We need to talk, Mom. I emerged from the kitchen, wiping my hands on a towel. Hi, Mom. Coffee's ready. The three of us sat at the dining room table, the untouched pie between us like a barrier. Marcus had conveniently found errands to run, giving us privacy. How long has this been going on? Mom asked, stirring her coffee endlessly. About 3 weeks, I answered. Since the night Marley? Since I hit bottom, Gabriel interrupted. That's what they call it in the meetings. Mom's spoon clattered against her cup. Meetings? What meetings? AA. Well, technically NA, Narcotics Anonymous. They're more about all kinds of addictions, including gambling. The word hung in the air like smoke. Mom's hands began to shake. Don't, she warned. Don't you dare bring that up. Why not? Gabriel's voice was steady. We never talked about it when Dad was alive. We never talked about it after he died. We just kept pretending everything was fine. Because it was fine, Mom stood up abruptly. Your father provided for us. He loved us. He was sick, Mom, I said gently, and now Gabriel's getting help so he doesn't follow the same path. This is ridiculous. Gabriel doesn't have a gambling problem. No, Gabriel agreed. I have a different problem. I turn everything into a joke because I'm terrified of being serious, of facing reality. Just like Dad did. Mom's face crumpled. You're nothing like him. I'm exactly like him, or I was becoming him. The deflection, the running away, the ruining important moments because I couldn't handle genuine emotion. Remember Emery's wedding? That was just a prank. It wasn't just a prank. Gabriel's voice rose. It was me, sabotaging something beautiful because I couldn't stand feeling inadequate. Because every time I see Emery succeeding, being happy, I remember what you said at Dad's funeral. Mom sank back into her chair. What I said? That I was just like him, that I'd end up just like him. I was grieving, Mom whispered. I was angry and hurt and right, Gabriel finished. But I don't want to be right anymore. I'm getting help. I'm facing things, and I need you to face them too. Tears started rolling down Mom's cheeks. Your father tried so hard to change. He just couldn't. Because he tried alone, I said. Because we all kept his secrets, laughed at his jokes, pretended everything was okay. And look at us now, Gabriel added. Still pretending, still avoiding, still hurting. Mom reached across the table, taking Gabriel's hand. I'm sorry about what I said at the funeral, about not seeing what was happening to you. I'm sorry too, he squeezed her hand, for becoming everyone's worst fear instead of proving them wrong. Tell her about your job, I prompted. As Gabriel shared his progress, the job, the meetings, the conversations with Joseph, Mum's expression shifted from pain to something like hope. And Marley? She asked. We're talking. Really talking. Not just me making jokes and her pretending to laugh. She came to dinner last night. Here. Yeah. She's been helping me learn how to be real, even when it hurts. Mom turned to me. This was your plan all along, wasn't it? Taking him in, forcing him to face everything. Actually, my plan was revenge, I admitted. But sometimes life has better ideas. I'm proud of you, Mom said to Gabriel. Your father, he would be proud too. Not of who you were becoming, but of who you're choosing to be now. Gabriel stood up, walking to the window. Joseph says change is like the sunrise. It happens gradually, then all at once, and you have to keep choosing it every day. Smart man, this Joseph, Mom observed. He is, I agreed. He's showing Gabriel there's a different way to be strong, a different way to be a man than what we grew up seeing. Mom finally cut into her pie, serving us each a piece. Well then, I suppose we have a lot of catching up to do. Real catching up, no more pretending. As we ate, the conversation flowed more freely than it had in years. There were tears, yes, but also genuine laughter, the kind that heals instead of hides. Through it all, I watched my brother's face, seeing glimpses of the person he was becoming. The person who, maybe, he'd been all along, beneath all those layers of jokes and deflection. 2 months after Mom's visit, I stood in the back of a community centre meeting room, watching Gabriel receive his 60-day sobriety chip. Marley sat beside me, clutching my hand. I never thought I'd see this, she whispered. He's actually doing it. Gabriel stepped up to the podium, the small bronze chip catching the fluorescent light. Hi, I'm Gabriel, and I'm an addict. Hi, Gabriel, the room responded. Not to drugs or alcohol, specifically, he continued, though those were definitely symptoms. I was addicted to running away, to turning everything into a joke because reality was too scary to face. Joseph, sitting in the front row, nodded encouragingly. 2 months ago, I ruined my sister's wedding. Dumped ice water on her during the father-daughter dance because I couldn't handle seeing someone else's perfect moment. I thought I was being funny. I wasn't. I was being a coward. He paused, taking a deep breath. My dad died 5 years ago. He was also a coward, hiding behind jokes and schemes until it killed him. I thought following in his footsteps was my destiny. But my sister, she showed me another way. Actually, she forced me to see another way. Laughter rippled through the room. She dumped ice water on me too. Karmic justice, right? But then she did something harder. She made me stay, made me look in the mirror, made me face every person I'd hurt with my jokes. Marley's grip on my hand tightened. Today, I have a steady job. I'm rebuilding relationships I nearly destroyed. I'm learning to sit with uncomfortable feelings instead of drowning them in alcohol or deflecting them with humor. And yeah, sometimes I still want to run. Sometimes I still want to turn everything into a joke. But now I know there's a difference between laughing with people and laughing at their expense. He held up his chip. This isn't just for sobriety. It's for 60 days of choosing to be real. 60 days of facing myself in the mirror. 60 days of trying to become someone my father never had the chance to be. After the meeting, we gathered in the parking lot. Joseph hugged Gabriel, whispering something in his ear that made him smile. I have something for you, Gabriel said to me after Joseph left. He pulled out an envelope. Open it. Inside was a check for the exact amount my wedding had cost. Gabriel, no, I started, but he held up his hand. I've been saving from my new job. Every penny. You and Marcus deserve a do-over. A real wedding without any pranks or drama. We're already married, I reminded him. Then renew your vows. Have the father-daughter dance you deserved. Let me make it right. Marley stepped forward. Actually, I have an idea. Why not use that money for a different kind of celebration? What do you mean? Gabriel asked. She took his hand. I've been thinking. Maybe it's time we had our own wedding. A small one, with just family. Where you can show everyone who you've become. Gabriel's eyes widened. Are you asking me to marry you? I'm asking if you're ready. Really ready. No jokes, no running away, no turning it into something it's not. Gabriel looked at me, then back at Marley. Can I think about it? Not because I don't want to, but because I want to be sure I'm doing it for the right reasons. Marley smiled. That's exactly the answer I was hoping for. Later that night, Gabriel and I sat on my porch much like that morning weeks ago when everything started to change. "I'm not taking the check," I said. "Emery, no, listen. Keep saving it. Build a future with Marley. Or use it for education. Joseph mentioned the counselling programme at the community college." Gabriel was quiet for a moment. "You think I could do that? Help people like Joseph does?" "I think you understand rock bottom in a way most people don't, and you're living proof that people can change. Because you forced me to." "No," I corrected him. "Because you chose to. Every day for 60 days you chose to be better. That's not revenge or karma. That's growth." He pulled out his sobriety chip, turning it over in his hands. "You know what's weird? For the first time in my life, I'm actually proud of myself. Not for being the life of the party or the family clown, but for being real." "Dad would be proud too." "Yeah," he smiled softly. "Maybe he's somewhere, watching, learning along with me." A car pulled into Joseph's driveway next door. He waved as he got out, carrying a stack of counselling books. "I think I'm going to take those classes," Gabriel decided. "Not for Marley or for you or even for Dad. For me." "Good." I stood up. "Because that's the only way change sticks, and when you do it for yourself." "Hey, Emery," he called as I headed inside. "Thank you for not giving up on me even when I deserved it." "That's what family does," I replied. "The real kind, not the pretend kind." He nodded, understanding exactly what I meant. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday, addressed in unfamiliar handwriting. Inside was a letter that made me sit down hard on our front steps. "Dear Emery," it began. "You don't know me, but I'm one of your brother's students from his counselling internship. I wanted to thank you." Marcus found me there, still reading. "Everything okay?" I handed him the letter. "Read it." "He told us about your wedding," the letter continued. "About how you turned his prank into a wake-up call. About how your revenge became his salvation. Yesterday he helped me find the courage to face my own family after years of running away. He said sometimes the hardest conversations lead to the best changes." "Where's Gabriel now?" Marcus asked. "At the community centre with Joseph. They're running a workshop together." The sound of laughter drew our attention to the street. Gabriel and Joseph were walking up the sidewalk, deep in conversation. "No, see, that's where you're wrong," Gabriel was saying. "Sometimes humour can be therapeutic, if used right. It's about laughing with people, not at them." Joseph spotted us on the steps. "Emery! Perfect timing. Your brother's just revolutionising my entire counselling approach. Someone left this for you." I held up the letter. Gabriel read it, his expression softening. "Jake, he's been struggling with his parents since coming out. We talked yesterday about using honesty instead of anger." "Looks like it worked," I said. "Yeah." Gabriel folded the letter carefully. "You know what's funny? Not ha-ha funny, but life funny. I always thought being serious meant being miserable. Turns out being real just means being whole." "Speaking of being real," Joseph interjected, "shouldn't you be somewhere right now?" Gabriel checked his watch and jumped. "The ring! I have to pick up the ring!" "What ring?" I asked, but he was already running to his car. "The engagement ring," Joseph explained. "He's asking Marley tonight, properly this time, with a real plan and everything." "Does she know?" "No, but she's been helping him plan this workshop series on family reconciliation. He's going to propose after they present it together." I shook my head, smiling. From wedding crasher to wedding planner. Who would have thought? "Actually," Joseph's eyes twinkled, "he's planning something for you too. A surprise vow renewal ceremony. Small, intimate, just family. He's been working with your mum on it for weeks." "Of course he has," I laughed, but this time I trust him with it. Later that evening, my phone buzzed with a text from Marley, a photo of her hand wearing a simple engagement ring, followed by, "He did it right this time. No jokes, just love." I showed Marcus the message. "Remember when I wanted revenge?" "You got it," he replied. "Just not the way you expected." "The best revenge is living well," Joseph quoted from our porch swing, where he'd stayed to chat. Or in Gabriel's case, helping others live well. My phone buzzed again, this time a text from Mom. "Your brother just called. He's crying happy tears. Real ones. Thank you for saving him." I didn't save him, I typed back. He saved himself. I just showed him it was possible. The next message was from Gabriel. Meeting tomorrow at 7, bringing a new person. Dad would be proud of us both. I looked up at our house, remembering that drunk, broken man who'd shown up on our doorstep months ago. The brother who'd turned my wedding into a disaster. The son who'd been following our father's self-destructive path. You know what the real revenge was? I said to Marcus and Joseph, breaking the cycle, turning pain into purpose. That's not revenge, Joseph smiled. That's redemption. My phone lit up one last time. A message from an unknown number. Hi, this is Jake. Your brother said I should reach out. Said sometimes family needs to be chosen, not just born into. Would you and Marcus maybe want to come to dinner? My parents are finally ready to talk. As I typed my reply, I realized that my plan for revenge had created something far more powerful than I'd intended. It had created a chain of healing that was reaching far beyond our family. Ready to head in? Marcus asked. Almost, I said, taking one more moment to sit with the peace of this evening. No ice water needed, no jokes necessary, no pain to hide from. Just truth, just growth, just love. And somewhere, I knew Dad was watching, finally learning how to face life without hiding behind laughter. Finally understanding that the best jokes aren't the ones that hurt, but the ones that heal. That's the thing about real revenge. Sometimes it looks exactly like forgiveness.